Good morning, guys. It's coffee chit chat time and it's a beautiful day. I got to sleep like right on the beach. So I heard the ocean waves like all night long. It was really nice. And the dogs are still sleeping. So I thought I'd make a video and just catch you up on what's going on. I was going to continue the last video, but I don't remember what I was talking about. So once I remember, I'll make another video. So anyways, yeah, yesterday was interesting. So I'll share a little story, and I do believe it was divinely orchestrated. So I am in town, you know, just running errands and stuff, and I go into Trader Joe's to pick up some supplies, and as I'm walking in, there's a homeless guy out front, and he's got all his little, you know, neatly packed belongings in front of him, but I could just see like kind of distress on his face, and I'm like, hi, good morning. And you could tell he was like surprised that you know, he's probably used to being ignored. So he's like, good morning, and you can tell he's tense. So I go in, come back out, and he's talking to a police officer when I come out, and I just thought to myself, oh gosh, I hope he's not being bothered, because he's not bothering anyone, you know. And so I know a lot of people don't like to see homeless people in front of stores, but if they're not bothering anyone, like, it's no different than anyone else standing in front of a store. So my first thought was just like, you know, I hope he's not being kicked out or, you know, told to go elsewhere. It's not like he's soliciting or anything. So anyways, I go up to them and I overhear him talking about how they cut the lock to his bike. And so obviously he had his bike stolen. And so the officer was really nice, and she's like, can we go somewhere and just, you know, sit down and talk about this? And, you know, I'm like walking by as I hear this, you know, so I get in my rig and something just tells me like to help him out. So I'm sitting there going, okay, I was given, I'll just say it, I was given a few $100s, and so I thought I had 3 $100 bills, and so I thought if I give him 100, I think that's enough for him to get a new bike. So I'm sitting there, you know, just kind of like talking to God about it, and I'm like, okay, God, like, I want to be wise with my money. I want you to trust me. I don't want to just foolishly give it away. I've done that in the past, and I feel like I've learned, and I just want to have like clear discernment on where and when to give my money that I get, because it's like, you know, I don't want to hold on to the things that I get. I want to be like, I've always told God, like, you know, work in me and through me, and let me just be a conduit, you know, for you, for your glory. And so I was just kind of like tossing it around, like, you know, should I give it to him? Will he buy a bike? It's not for me to decide. It's really like, once you give a gift, it's out of your control. You did your part, and God sees that, you know. So if somebody buys whatever, it's not for you to dictate. And if you're that worried about it, then, you know, go buy the bike or the item, and, you know, that way you know for sure they have it and they didn't spend it on, you know, whatever. So I like to have peace about it and just kind of trust people. And so my friend ends up texting me, or I text her, I'm not sure. I think she texts me, and then she hears really clearly from God, and I love bouncing things off of her, because I know I'll get sound judgment, you know. And so I told her what had happened, and I said, I'm kind of like, you know, not knowing if I should give him the 100. I don't want to be foolish with my money, and I don't want to, like, you know, like maybe give him something that could put him in harm's, you know, way, because some people will buy drugs, you know, or alcohol or whatever, and it's like they go on a bender or whatever, and it's like, I don't want to contribute to that. But if God's telling me to do something, then, you know, I need to obey. And so anyways, as I'm typing this, as I'm texting her, I'm thinking back of a message that I heard from Joyce Myers about how she was praying about something, if she should do something nice for someone, and she couldn't decide like if God wanted her or not, and she didn't know if she should. And then finally, like, he spoke to her heart and said, you know, I'll never be upset at you for like being kind to somebody and being giving to someone, so you can never go wrong, you know. And so I was kind of thinking that as I'm typing it, and then my friend says, it's funny you say that because I just listened to a message by Joyce Myers about kindness and giving. And I'm like, how weird. I just had her on my mind as I'm typing this. So it's kind of was confirmation, you know, for me that I should. And so I said, okay, Lord, you know, if I'm meant to give it to him, then he'll still be there, or I'll find him, because I know that it was almost like the police officer wanted to take him away from there. And so I was hoping they were still, you know, in the area there. So, and I said, you know, God, otherwise, you know, I'll run into him again, or you know who you're setting up to receive. And so, yeah, I started driving out and I didn't see them. So I think the officer probably took him like to the station to file a report or something. So then, anyways, I went about my day. And then I went in, turned in my recyclables, and I'll do a video on that because that was pretty exciting. And so anyways, I'm at another place, and there's this big trash can, like a big bin. And I look inside, and there's some bags in there, and I see lots of treasures. And it's funny because when I was recycling, I told the guy, I said I really had to just get over myself, you know, worrying about what people think when I'm picking out the trash. And he's like, it's like seeing nickels and dimes everywhere, and you're just too worried about, you know, like what people think, and you don't want to pick them up. I'm like, that's a good way to look at it. So anyways, I look in the big bin and I see bags, and I grab a couple. And then when I grabbed a couple bottles fell down into the bin. So I'm trying to like take a stick and kind of maneuver one, you know, roll it back up, and finally I'm like, oh, I'm not going to be able to get it. And I'm not climbing in. I haven't crossed that line. I'm not a dumpster diver yet. So this guy comes out of nowhere, you know, and, you know, you can tell he's lived an interesting life. Let's put it that way. He's like, did you find anything good in there? And like, he was just so like, you know, like Tigger, you know, bouncing around. And and I'm like, yeah, you know, got some bottles and cans, but I can't get that one. And he's like, I'll get it for you. And then he grabbed it, you know, because he was pretty tall and lanky. And then he's like, I just want something to eat. Is there anything good to eat in there? And I'm just like, he goes, I just, you know, rode. It's been a rough day. I just rode, and I haven't eaten. And he goes, do you see anything in there? And I'm like, you need something to eat? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, I'll get you something to eat. And I go, wait here. And so I ran to my rig, and then I just grabbed like what I could grab, you know. I wanted him to have nutrition, you know. So I had just gotten some bananas. I had some oranges, protein bars. He had all his teeth, so I didn't have to worry about, you know, the nuts and all that stuff being an issue. So he looked pretty healthy. So anyways, and it's so funny because I have bags, and I need my bags to collect my treasures, you know. And so my bags are very like, I don't know, like I need them. And so I was just like, oh, it's like I was willing to give him all his food, but then when it came to my bags, I was just like, oh, I don't want to give him my bags. And so I'm like carrying all this this stuff. I did put some stuff in it, like a couple Ziploc bags, but I'm like going out there and I'm just like juggling all this stuff. I'm thinking, Anna, a bag is like 10 cents. What's wrong with you? And so, isn't that funny how we choose what to give? And so, I come out and I'm just like, here's some food, you know, and, meanwhile, he had like a whole pile of like bottles and cans and stuff like that right next to my rig, the back of my rig. And I'm like, oh, that's for me? And he's like, yeah. And I'm just thinking like, I don't know why that touched me so much, because he didn't have to do that. But like, he totally went out of his way. And it was just so thoughtful. Like, he was willing to, you know, reciprocate. And I just thought that was really kind. And so I gave him the food and I gave him some cash. And then he was just like, wow, you know, and I'm thinking, you know, now he can get some proper meals. And so he's like, what's your name? I said, Anna. And he goes, my name's Shiloh. And then he goes, where are you heading? Are you heading? I think he said north. Are you heading north? And I'm thinking, uh-oh, I think he wants to hitchhike. And I'm like, no, I'm staying put. I'm visiting my sister, so I'm staying put. He's like, oh, okay. And then I said, bless you. You know, like, I was just like, okay, I got to cut it off here, because you can tell when someone is like gonna linger, and then it's gonna get awkward, and then, you know, you don't know. So as a single traveling woman, you can't invite that. So I was like, bless you, bye, you know, and I just kind of, you know, left. And so anyways, yeah, so then I guess after he kind of disappeared for a little bit, I guess he was eating and stuff, and then he came by. I was sitting in the front, and he came by on his bike, circled around and said thank you. So that was really nice. And so that made me feel good. I thought, you know what, God set that up, you know, like that was so divinely orchestrated. Like, God knew who needed a blessing and would be appreciative, and then also like reciprocate, you know, which I never expect, you know, but I just thought that was just like so touching. So anyways, that was my day yesterday. Well, part of my day. I had a busy day, but a good day. A lot of things happened. Met a lot of people, good opportunities. So yeah, yesterday was a good day. And it's weird because I don't know about you guys.